Coors Light is so fucking gross. Alright, welcome back to another episode of Two Drunk Guys and a Football Podcast. I'm your host, Skinny Domestic.
And Marcus the Hammer Mary.
Today we have a bunch of news. There's been a lot that has happened over the last week since our last episode. And some ongoing things that I guess have been going on since the last episode, but
yeah,
we haven't really been breaking down news a whole lot as much as we planned. And then we're going to go over just some top rivalries in football in general that we like to see. Everybody loves to watch. I feel like is something that was a big thing, even past or present. So I think the first thing to just get over is Hall of Fame game Thursday.
Exciting.
Football is finally back.
It is very exciting.
Television. What is it? The Browns and Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we don't get to see Aaron Rodgers' debut as a Jet yet, but that can wait. I don't think he'll probably. I don't even know if he'll actually play a preseason game. Maybe like a drive, if that. I don't see him really touching a whole lot.
He doesn't need to. He's been doing it he's got to be pushing 20 years now.
Yeah. The only reason why I would want him to do it as a coach is just build that in-game chemistry. Like I said, probably a drive, if anything. Zach Wilson starting. And then the Browns are starting. Who did they say? Oh, Kellen Mond. Kellen Mond?
Kellen Mond.
Yeah,
the ex-Minnesota Viking.
Yeah. They're starting him over their rookie quarterback. So
of course, Kevin Stefanski is going to take more Vikings from me.
It's going to be fun to see that battle, I think.
Yeah.
Especially Jets aren't playing any of their starters. I don't know if the Browns are or not. I didn't see anything there. I don't know if anybody's going to get any time, but again, it's football. I'll take it. It's been too long. February is just too long without.
Are we going to get scared again like we did with Josh Jacobs last year once he played in the Hall of Fame game and everyone's like, ooh, he's not going to be good and, was a leading rusher in the NFL?
Yeah, Zach Wilson plays like dog shit. And I guess I don't know because I don't know what starters are actually going to play. So
it's an extra preseason game. Who knows?
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. That's Thursday, guys. Make sure you tune in. Enjoy that football.
It would be nice to be able to actually talk more about football.
Yeah,
too.
And even if it's just backups, you get to watch guys that are going to shooting for a roster position, and maybe eventually become starters. Who knows?
Yeah.
God, what else? I mean, the next thing, you got Sony Michel retiring at the age of 28, two-time Super Bowl champion.
Great Georgia Bulldog.
Yeah, dude, that Georgia, he was on some great running back rooms with Georgia. What was it?
Todd Gurley, Nick Chubb.
Yeah. DeAndre Swift, one of the years. That was just a solid.
Swift snuck in with all of them?
Yeah.
Really?
That 1 year it was.
I feel like they're so much older than him, though.
Well, the 1 year it was. Well, Gurley was earlier.
I know Gurley's way earlier.
So it was Chubb, Swift, Michelle, and then there was other guys that nobody cares about.
Yeah.
Really. But what's crazy is in between those years, you had Nick Chubb went off. Nick Chubb, Todd Gurley, they all were pushing 800 plus yards. I think a couple of times they broke 1,000. And then 1 year, Sony Michel went off. Then 1 year, Nick Chubb went off. And then they were just going back and forth in terms of going off. So that was a good running back. I don't know what other running backs rooms might even be able to compete with those.
No, I'd say it's the greatest of all time.
Yeah, it'd be a top running back rooms.
Todd Gurley, he keeps his knees, probably a top 25 running back of all time.
Yeah.
He's probably a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, he probably won't make the Pro Bowl. The dude only finished with 3,200 rushing yards in his career.
You mean Hall of Fame?
Yeah, Hall of Fame. Sorry.
Yeah. He did win. He won some Super Bowl. He literally won
the Super Bowl for the Pats.
Was that the Falcons one that he ran him into?
Yes,
I think so. He's been in the league for a while.
So, but that playoff run for him was just crazy. He averaged he went 129, 113, 94, 6 touchdowns, and then won in the Super Bowl. That's a hell of a playoff run for a running back.
Yeah.
And then you win the Super Bowl, because Brady didn't play well. He was iffy.
Maybe it was the Rams year that they beat the Rams.
It was 2018, so Rams, 13-3.
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
Jared Goff taking the Rams to the Super Bowl.
Um, but yeah, he retired. So then the Rams went and picked up Royce Freeman, which again, go get your fucking Leonard Fournettes and Zeke Elliott and Kareem Hunt, you bastards. I'm getting tired of this shit.
I'm telling you, it doesn't matter anymore. There's too many, all these running backs, even Royce Freeman, who, he's been in the league for a long time.
Yeah, and he's getting.
They're just it doesn't matter because these guys, like, do you want to pay, I don't know, Zeke $5 million a year or pay this running back who has more, pep in his step?
Yeah.
$1 million a year or less than $1 million to do it.
Well, the Pats might bite on Zeke. Who knows? He's been spending a lot of time in Boston this week.
That's what I heard. I like it. He could play the LeGarrette Blount role.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. The LeGarrette Blount role. Come in and do exactly what he did for the Pats.
Yeah, I don't have any bitch about it. I like it a lot.
The only problem is if you're looking at Stevenson for fantasy,
yeah,
and Zeke's on that team, just know his goal line touches are probably going to get taken a little bit.
Anyone gets signed. I mean, I don't want anyone to touch Dallas's backfield. I don't want anyone to touch New England's backfield. Yeah. I don't want anyone to touch Jacksonville's backfield. And all these running backs are just about to hit their peak. Like they're going to be top 15, top 10-ish. If any of those guys sign it, I'm out. Yeah, I'm out a little bit.
Pollard, was Zeke gone? Over 7.5 rushing touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
Like he's fine.
And they talk about running the ball. Mike McCarthy's like, I want to run the ball. You know that they ran the ball like the sixth most out of anyone in the league last year.
And then Rojo got suspended for 2 games. So like the first 2 games, it's all Tony Pollard.
Are you worried about Rojo though?
And that I made a tweet the other day because I like when I saw that suspension. What was it, like a day or 2 ago? I was like, you know what really irritates me? That Ronald Jones is on a team, but Leonard Fournette is not. Like Ronald Jones literally lost to Leonard Fournette for the starting spot in Tampa, and couldn't do it. Like, it just irritates me. So much talent that just not being touched and avoided. All because of money. I get it.
People have been trying to make Rojo a thing for so long.
Yeah. NFL owners are just being bastards lately, and it pisses me off.
I'm telling you, it's a supply and demand thing, though. I'm not like saying I don't care.
Yeah,
like I don't.
Then you get guys like Jim Irsay who make it like just you're being a bastard.
Oh, here's the thing though. He kind of has JT by the balls.
Oh, fuck yeah, he does.
Talking about that, I wanted to talk about this on the podcast too.
Oh yeah,
Jonathan Taylor.
We wanted Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor. No one's going to pay what they want to trade Jonathan Taylor for. And if they did, it's a double-sided sword, though, because if they did, though, they also have to pay him. Who's going to give up the draft capital plus give this man a contract for X amount of years?
Allegedly, reports say that there's a couple teams that are willing to trade for him, but who knows?
I say that's BS.
And it even said that they're willing to sign him to long-term deals, but it's like, if no one's doing that now...
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
Who?
Like, well, I don't know. It just said reports that there's teams. I don't know. It didn't say teams.
I feel like it's his agent.
Yeah, it definitely could be just trying to force Jim Irsay to make a move, which it happens in sports.
Where do you want him at though? Like, can you think of a team right now where you'd be like, oh, that's a good landing spot for JT?
And long-term deal and pay him the amount of money that he wants
and put up the draft capital.
Yeah, no.
What, you want to add another running back to the Eagles?
Well, we are paying our running back room of 4 running backs like $6 million, so we could afford it.
Yeah,
But he doesn't fit the scheme. I mean, he's a lot like a DeMarco Murray. Not good out of the receiving backfield.
Oh, I think he's better than DeMarco Murray.
In terms of like how he runs. Like he's
a north-south guy.
I guess like Zeke too. Just a north-south guy. Like not much of a
But
guy.
he's got a lot of speed though. He can be I think he could scat back.
I'd rather have like Austin Eckler come fill that role here the next couple of years when he's like, I'm done with the child. No, I'm joking. That's not gonna happen.
Skinny just wants another Darren Sproles.
Dude,
that's all I want.
Boston Scott's basically are Darren Sproles.
Not as good. Good.
Clearly not as good, but he's definitely there. No, the Jonathan Taylor thing has just been crazy. Had a meeting, instantly comes out of that meeting. It's like, I want to trade. Jimmy, you're saying how he's handling it like he's a 10-year-old child. Comes out and says,
if I die
and Jonathan Taylor were off the team, nobody would remember us. And then literally Less than 24 hours later, he's like, "We are not trading Jonathan Taylor."
Well, they committed war against each other. This is war.
Yeah. So
Jonathan Taylor, honestly, wow, what a 2 year span. I mean, taking into fantasy, Jonathan Taylor scares me. Will he play this year?
The next thing is Zach Moss broke his arm. So now the only running back that they have is Deion Jackson that they know that can actually really do anything.
To the moon, baby, yeah. To the moon.
Jonathan Taylor isn't even on the Colts official roster website. You go and look it up on the Indianapolis Colts website, not even there.
That's hilarious.
And then he showed up to camp today or yesterday. He did show up, but he's walking weird. He's saying that he's not injured. The reports were that he's injured. They're gonna potentially not play him this year, put him on the NFI or whatever it is.
Yeah, so they don't have to pay him,
and then you have to do all this over again next year. Which, if I'm Jim Irsay, the way you've been acting, might be the move at this rate.
Here's the thing, though. An NFL running back sitting for a year probably ups his value with no wear and tear for a year.
Yeah, and if he's the only big thing is he's going to be even more pissed because he's not getting paid. So there's going to be a whole. The thing with Jim Irsay too that bugs me is Andrew Luck retires. Hey, you can keep your $24.8 million, no problem. But Jonathan Taylor, he's like, we're not going to let you have anything. Like, just, I get it, but like, you let a man walk to never play football again for 24.8, like 24.
Hey, I think Jim Irsay's funny though. Once they draft, I can't remember who they drafted, but he said, "Who the hell's Mel Kiper?"
Oh yeah,
he says that. I think Jim Irsay's funny. The whole situation, it's really stupid.
I just expect better from an owner. I think in terms of like what you say.
I don't know I mean, fans are going to be pissed, and he didn't say anything. I mean, he was smart to not say if I die and Jonathan Taylor dies.
Yeah.
Like how he worded that, he's like, if he's out of the league, I was like, better, but I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. People that are getting contracts, though, are Andrew Thomas for the Giants, their tackle.
It's good.
5-year, $117.5 million, and 67 of that is fully guaranteed.
That's good. He's a good player.
Yeah, he's a good tackle. I'd say he's probably top 5, top 10 in the league.
Probably deserves it more than Daniel Jones. But,
yeah. Oh, gosh. Don't even get me started on Daniel Jones getting paid. It's a solid long-term thing. It's just funny, too, because, like, it happened right after the whole Saquon thing. Mm-hmm. He's like, I want more money. I want an extension. And then they go like, all right, here, we'll get you on the 1-year deal, whatever. Saquon caved in. And then, like, a day or two later, Andrew Thomas has this big-ass contract. So
why are you going to pay him? They literally won't.
Yeah. But he's getting paid. Danielle Hunter, sorry.
Kept him for a year. He wants to retire a Viking now, even though every 2 years he complains about his contract.
But this one he did it smart with. He cannot be franchise tag next year with this contract. He made sure that was put in there. So he is guaranteed, no matter what, he's going to be a free agent after next year. And he is going to get a long-term, he's going to get a long-term deal most likely.
He's been a very productive player. I wouldn't mind him staying in Minnesota forever and retiring one of those.
Besides as Darius Smith, he was the only other productive defensive player you guys had.
Well, it's just him. It's just ridiculous, though, because you look at him, and I feel like he's been a Viking forever. Like he's been a Viking since he's 20. He's going to turn 28. Like that's 8 years is a long time to be a Viking.
Well, 8 years in the league is, when you look at how long some of these people last.
And he's been pretty productive, so I'm okay with that one.
65 total tackles last year, made the Pro Bowl.
And a position change, too. People don't realize he was playing outside linebacker instead of defensive end, and he was a good defensive end. I kind of worried if he'd fit it, but he's an athletic guy. So.
I think the best part about his contract is getting in that no franchise tag. Like, he can't be tagged. Like, that was the smartest thing you could do to avoid any contract issues next year, which, as you can tell, you're already having a little bit of issue this year because last week there was something that the Vikings were open to trade him if needed. So
That's what they say, but it might have been rumors.
Yeah.
The next year is going to be big for the Vikings too because they got to sign JJ. Kirk will be a free agent too. What do you do with that?
Hey, remember you're trading for Trey Lance, all right?
They might if they could get Trey Lance for like a 4th-round pick.
I heard reports of a fifth and a fourth.
I would do it tomorrow. Who cares? Who cares? That's basically free for a guy that was 3 first-round picks. The 49ers. How did the 49ers?
Third round overall. I don't know.
How did they not just destroy their franchise? Like they're such a solid franchise.
I don't know. They're lucky, I guess.
Very lucky. That's stupid.
Next we got
Cole Kmet.
He got signed. Yeah. I don't even know what his contract is.
I think it was like $3 or $4 million. I can't remember. It was decent money.
Yeah, it's decent. I mean, he's definitely been up.
He could be a top 10 tight end.
Yeah, depending on Justin Fields and his throwing ability.
Yeah.
I agree. It's all really just Justin Fields. We know he can run. We know what he can do with his legs. Can he be a consistent passer? And
he was in college.
Yeah, so
but it hasn't been in the NFL
yet. Tim Tebow was great in college. Baker Mayfield was great in college.
That's true.
Yeah.
So. Hey, don't talk bad about Baker. I still like Baker.
Then we have John Ross, dude. I love John Ross. I wish the man would have been able to, do more than just run fast. But he retired officially.
John Ross is out of the league?
Yeah, he retired.
I didn't hear that. Well, good for you, John Ross.
9th overall pick in 2017. Ran the fastest recorded combine 4.22. Yeah. But man couldn't do shit besides run fast. Couldn't run a route. Couldn't fuck. His biggest thing was
the
catching.
Bengals drafted him.
Yeah,
right?
He couldn't catch worth a shit. That was his biggest problem. Just not being able to catch a goddamn ball. I remember there were times where, nobody can keep up with him. He'd fucking just run a go. And the guy nearest to him would be like 10, 15 yards behind him. Nobody around him.
Imagine being that fast and not being good.
And he dropped the pass.
Yeah.
So I remember in Madden when I was tearing it up with him and Chosen Rosen, got him on the Rams and just go routes all the time.
I remember that too.
Wow,
have the Bengals come a long way.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Long.
They were able to make up that 2017 mistake and have probably arguably the best wide receiver room in the league now.
And speaking of the Bengals,
oh yeah, Joey Burrow, calf injury.
He'll be all right. Probably.
He'll be fine.
Yeah,
he'll be okay. It looked worse on the video.
He does do some things with his legs though. He's more
he was
agile than people think.
Well, he took off and scrambled in the video, and then he planted and it just popped in or whatever. Whatever happened. I'm not too worried about it, especially taking time off. It's not like, again, it's your first couple of days of camp. It's good. Everybody's getting injured on those type of things. Then you get the more long-term things where Zach, I know I'm going to say his last name wrong, Charbonnet for the Seahawks.
Yeah, I think that's right. Charbonnet.
Yeah, the running back. He's out indefinitely with the shoulder injury. So Kenneth Walker to the moon right now, guys.
Yeah, if you're worried about Kenneth Walker, there you go.
Going to keep him in the fantasy league, so I like that. That's all they said. It was just out indefinitely. So,
what does that mean? Yeah. How long will he be back this year?
Who knows?
Seahawks. No wonder they take running backs all the time because they get hurt all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's why once they took it second round, I was like, well, it's kind of because Kenneth Walker I think is a better overall runner than Zach Charbonnet, but
when you take a running back second, it's just like a quarterback in the first. What are you doing?
Yeah,
with Jordan Love, but that never even amounted to anything either.
He's starting now.
Yeah, which I'm actually interested to see how that goes. Under 21 passing touchdowns this year.
That offense is so not talented.
Yeah,
it's got to go through those running backs.
Yeah, Aaron Jones is going to eat this year, so high on Aaron Jones.
Both running backs.
Oh, and AJ Dillon too.
Both the running backs over. I'm going to say 600 yards rushing.
Oh, I'm going to go 8. I think both
800 yards. Yeah. They're going to be like Panthers, like 2010 Panthers with.
Oh, dude, they're going to eat, and then I just feel like they're both going to just rob any touchdown, any red zone touches too.
I don't know why. Why can't I think of his name? Number 33 for him, Aaron Jones. He's dipping in drafts. Like, people don't want Aaron Jones. He probably has the best situation. Now they don't even have Aaron Rodgers. Like, he's going to eat. Like,
you have A.J. Dillon, but again, A.J. Dillon isn't as versatile as he is.
It's not going to take the passing game.
Exactly. Jalen Ramsey out to 6 to 8 weeks, which, he'll miss maybe
the preseason and maybe a couple.
Then they got Eli Apple, which that's hilarious.
That is funny.
With the whole Tyreek situation they made up. But Eli, even with Eli, he'll be a solid third cornerback. Like, he's not great, but he's not bad. So.
Someone that didn't live up to his draft type either.
But I think it's a smart pickup for the Dolphins.
Yeah,
especially with Jalen Ramsey. If he keeps getting hurt or the beginning of the season, just have him there.
I would assume it was a cheap pickup too.
Oh yeah, I don't know what he signed for, but and then the last two injuries. Denver Broncos wide receiver room just taking some hits here. Tim Patrick's about to miss his second season in a row with an Achilles ACL.
Dude, I feel so bad for Tim Patrick,
and I'm wondering if it's the same leg, because usually, you're thinking about your ACL, it's weaker, all that stuff. Your Achilles, your calf, all that is gonna take a hit. So I wonder if it's the same leg.
2 years ago, I had Cortland Sutton in fantasy. I hated Tim Patrick.
He took all the touches.
He did. He took all
crazy.
the catches. And now 2 years later, Tim Patrick is not a thing.
Yeah.
He probably won't even be with the team.
And then KJ Hamler, he's having heart issues, so he's gonna be back. Allegedly, he's only gonna miss a couple weeks, not months.
I wonder why all these NFL players are having heart issues.
I don't know, but
really weird.
That wide receiver room, I mean, they still got Sutton, they still got Judy, and they have their rookie Mims, which I like. I think that's a good, solid wide receiver room.
Well, now they need it. So
yeah, without Patrick and him, Greg Dulcich, if depending on Hamler's draft stock,
they still got Alex O too.
Yeah, I think it's solid for Russ still.
Russ will have a comeback year. I know you don't think Deshaun Watson will, but those two players I think could border around the top 10.
Oh, I have Russ being back in the top 10. No way he's not. I just don't see it. He's too good of a player.
Yeah, but why does 1 year tank someone's
career?
Yeah,
because that's just how it is.
It's insane. It's 3 years ago Matt Ryan was real good, and then he's just not. Not real good, but good. We used to look at Matt Ryan a lot differently than we do now.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't even think he's in.
Same thing to be said about a lot of players, but yeah, I mean, one bad season really makes people.
In Russ, it was a really bad season.
I'm gonna blame a lot of it on the coaching. I mean, after the first game, when you're not trusting your Super Bowl winning quarterback to go on forward on 4th and short or whatever, 4th and goal, and you're like, we're gonna kick it instead.
Here's the thing.
There's a lot of distrust there.
Here's the thing that I will say though. If Russ is so damn good, you would have seen sparks of it. And I didn't see any sparks of it. He looked like a depleted, and he was injured. I will give him that.
Don't relax. He'll be fine. It's okay.
It looked like Baker Mayfield a couple years ago.
Yeah, and Baker had a little comeback at the end of last year, didn't he?
Are we saying good things about Baker?
No, we're not. We're not. The only good thing I have about Baker is taking the Oklahoma flag to the middle of the field. That's it.
Yeah.
That's probably about the best thing I have about him. Other than that, fuck that guy.
I like Baker. He's funny.
So now, with the news, that you heard it here, the news. With
the news.
Skinny and the Hammer. Take it away with rivalries.
Alrighty.
So Marcus did NFL more because, that's what he pays attention to. I did college just to get a little bit of mixture of both.
Mm-hmm. Number 1, 49ers Cowboys.
100%. I love that's a great rivalry.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking 90s. I'm thinking
T.O.
Who else was in there? Deion Sanders, Michael Irvin, Jerry Rice, Troy Aikman, Steve Young, Emmett Smith, all those guys.
Dude, my favorite part about the Cowboys 49ers rivalry is T.O.'s football on the star. I love it.
That is funny.
So disrespectful.
It is. And then he plays for him.
And he does it twice. and he gets his ass, come after him. But it's just, and even recently in the playoffs, they've been playing all, they both have been making the playoffs, and the 49ers keep kicking Dallas's ass.
It's two teams that are usually really good. It's two teams that play each other quite often. I mean, they really, honestly, it's kind of crazy. They've only played in 30 games against each other their whole careers.
Oh, wow.
The Cowboys are 14-15 in the regular season, 14-15-1. So it's pretty close rivalry. Like that's almost 50%.
Yeah,
where they're
one of the closest rivalries you'll probably find.
Mm-hmm.
Usually there's one that's like 5, 10, 15, 20 plus.
Mm-hmm. But in the postseason, they're 5-4 in 9 games. So like they beat them more. I mean, we're talking about two dynasties that like the 90s football, that was the Cowboys and the 49ers.
Oh,
it literally was.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're both NFC teams. You're constantly meeting each other in the playoffs.
And think about how many players like transitioned over to the other ones. Like you got Deion Sanders, you got T.O., you got who's that crazy defense? You probably don't know who I'm talking about. Crazy defensive end that won like 5 Super Bowls and played with both teams because he literally was on the 49ers early 90s.
Yeah,
like there's so many players that transitioned over and played on both teams. Like,
well, it's always a battle too. Like each game, like especially, I mean, even with like the rules how they are today, like when those two teams play, it's physical, and a lot of that is because of their defenses.
They're both, and even now, like that's two teams that are so balanced. Actually, the Cowboys have a really good defense. And then, they do. Okay, Eagles fan. Okay, Eagles fan.
Their defense is not as good as it used to be.
They have Micah Parsons, who is 2020s T or LT.
I agree.
I'm putting
Micah
it up.
Parsons is good, but other than that, I feel like everybody.
Trayvon Diggs is the ball hawk.
The dude is kind of slightly overrated, but okay.
And then they have their linebacker, the white guy.
Well, then they signed Stephon Gilmore too.
Yeah.
Which Stephon Gilmore is not the same Stephon.
They still have Dexter Lawrence, who's been in the league for like 25 years.
They are above average defense. They're not as good. They're not a couple of years ago.
Top 10.
I would say they're
top 10.
Maybe.
Top 10.
Maybe.
Top 10.
10 to 15, I'd say.
Top 10. I like the Cowboys defense. I do.
I think they're a top 10 to 15.
Now I got to be a Cowboy supporter. You're over here making me,
Hey, I like Tony Pollard. I think Tony Pollard's a great asset for that team.
Okay, fantasy.
I like Brandon Cooks, even though he's played for like 8 different teams.
He's going to be the number 3 on that team.
But, CD's an alright guy. Played at Oklahoma, I watched him with Jalen Hurts.
We forgot news.
What news?
Kirk Cousins, number 42, top 100, baby.
Fucking Jesus.
Okay, we can keep going.
Oh, yeah, Travis Kelce. Dude, that list has been such trash this year.
NFL players vote on it.
I know. I don't know what the fuck these players are smoking, dude. Jason Kelce, 37. Lane Johnson, 41 or something like that. Tristan Wirfs is in the 90s or 80s. What the fuck?
Okay, the worst one is Justin Fields over Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. You're telling me guys that haven't allowed a sack in 2 years are in the 40s and 90s at their respective position? Nah, man. It's not okay. And then you see the talent around him, and you're like, what the hell is this? Khalil Mack is still in the top 50. Khalil Mack hasn't done shit since his Raiders days.
Yeah, Khalil Mack and the Bears was such a fail.
Khalil Mack is good, but he's not the same Khalil Mack. He is not.
Define good.
With the Raiders, he was dominant.
The Raiders, he was looking like he'd be a Hall of Famer.
He is not a top 40 player anymore.
Hey, shout out to John Gruden. John Gruden knew what he was doing, though. Because he booted his ass to the Bears, and he fleeced them, dude.
But I'm just saying that Khalil Mack is not a top 40 player. The guy, people that are behind him deserve to be ahead of him. I don't know don't know what the players are thinking. But, yeah.
Yeah, so Cowboys. Cowboys.
So one of my rivalries in college football. I haven't started watching it until recently, just due to the whole military issue that's been going on, where players want to be eligible for the draft and go play NFL, but they're like, oh, you need to serve your time and all that stuff after you play. It's the Army Navy. game, which now plays like it's like the last season of the game every year. So that's probably one reason why I started watching it more too. Um, you got two military powerhouses, and everybody knows that the military talk shit about each other. Any branch you're in, it's been going on since 1890. Um, and Navy leads at 62-53-7, fairly close. There's been a lot of like back and forth over the years of like the longest streak is 14 in a row by Army or Navy, and then they play for the Commander in Chief trophy. One of the biggest games they had was 2016. Army finally broke Navy's win streak of that 14 games. Like, you're just tired of getting your ass kicked. And
Why is Navy better? That's all I know.
I don't know, but it's just one of those like it's not just football. It's like pretty much like the whole US, the USA.
My branch is better than your branch.
Yeah, and then they do like they sing each other's like the loser sings the anthem or whatever you want to call it of the other person's with their student section. Like it's just a fun little rivalry, like rivalry. It's very big. Again, I didn't get into it until like the last couple of years, just because of all these players that have been trying to go to the NFL, and they're like dealing with eligibility issues with having to serve, and everybody's like, "Oh, you need to serve your country. You knew what you were signing up for." And then people are like, "Well, I mean, you're eligible. Come play, go play." So it's a once in a lifetime thing.
All I know is, does Navy still run the triple option?
I have no idea.
Dude, I remember NCAA, they'd run wishbone and just run the ball down them. It was like run every play, they never threw it.
I know one of the two just run the shit out of the football still.
I think it's Navy.
I think so too. Like they just pound the
it's
football.
It's like we're playing 70s football.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like throw 5 passes a game, just run down your throat. Army Navy is always going to be a good one because you're always going to have the military, and you're always going to have that not just football but military backing, and like they go crazy over it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
True. My next one. So this is kind of a newer rivalry. It's a franchise that used to be the Browns turned into the Ravens versus Steelers. I think of just mid 2000s, just tough, just a bunch of Hall of Famers on both these teams. Troy Polamalu, Big Ben, Terrell Suggs, Ed Reed, Joey Porter, James Harrison. Just coming at each other and just hitting each other. Just defense. I think of just defense, really.
Well, and you ever think like Big Ben was a quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
They were fighting again. Teams that were constantly going to the playoffs too. Same division, still going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
I just remember those hard hitting games.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much nowadays. I mean, now it's like
the defense is the Steelers always have a
their
defense.
defense. Is always good, but like and the Browns, I mean, haven't been
the Ravens.
Yeah, Ravens haven't been bad either, but it doesn't hit the same.
Not as much anymore. It did for a long time though.
Like now,
I think of like once I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking like 2010 and earlier, because like 2010 was really like the peak of like. You see Ed Reed going and picking off Big Ben and Troy Polamalu like doing crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just Ray Lewis being Ray Lewis.
Speaking of Troy Polamalu, who would you rather take a hit from? Troy Polamalu or Brian Dawkins?
Troy Polamalu.
You'd rather be hit by
Troy Polamalu 100%. Brian Dawkins is weird, bro. That dude's like fucking going at the ground like I like it's crawling thing where you'd be like this, like, dude, I would not want to take a hit.
Troy Polamalu would hit you hard, but Brian Dawkins would take your head off. Like
I think of Troy Polamalu like he could hit. Like I'm not gonna say he couldn't. I think of him more as a ball hawk. Like I think of Brian Dawkins as strictly like I'm going to stop the run and I will go and I will blitz you and I will sack you.
I will kill him.
Yeah, he will. He's crazy, dude.
Yeah, no, but I hope that rivalry kind of picks back up again now that their teams are getting like established again. They got their quarterbacks. Their defenses have always been pretty deep. I mean, the Steelers' defense is better, but you have Myles Garrett. I mean, shit got heated in the Mason Rudolph game.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, like shit gets heated between them still.
You keep saying Myles Garrett.
Wow.
God damn you, Skinny. He's on the Browns.
Yeah. Oh yeah, why do I keep thinking the Browns and Steelers?
Why would I
Jesus.
say the Browns?
Dude, I don't know. I just think that over the Ravens. Okay.
You think the Browns and Steelers is over the Ravens?
Well, after the hit, I mean, of course.
Oh, yeah. Well, he knocked him.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I just don't. I don't get that same rivalry vibe every year with them when they play.
They used to be.
Oh yeah, it used to be, definitely, for sure. My next one is Michigan and the Ohio State University.
It's a good one.
Big Ten teams. Typically, I mean, they're often, if not, in the top 10. Both when they play, both are always in the top 10. They call it the game for a reason. I think it's probably one of the most watched, most followed rivalries in college football. I'd probably say, arguably, in terms of like ranking, I'd probably say it's in the top 3 best rivalries in college football overall. I didn't do the best 3 that most people would say. I just did random ones, but Michigan leads at 60-51-6. What I love about this rivalry is I just was looking up some past things about it. They had a snow bowl where OSU at the time was leading the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
Could have forfeited the game due to snow, bad weather, and they would have won the Big Ten title. Instead, they opted to play it. Michigan beat them, and Michigan won the Big Ten title. So OSU could have just had it and been like, "Yeah, we're good." What's crazy about that is there was 45 punts in that game because all they did they were playing. They were playing position. All they hoped for was some of these punts were on first down. They were hoping that they'd punt it, the guy would drop it, and then
get better
field position and all that. The punter had over 650 punting yards in total. One of the guys
who comes into a game and is like, you know what, we can't do anything. We're just gonna punt it.
The final score was 9-3.
What year was that? Do you have that information?
No, I don't have the year on me. It had to. I think it was the 50s or 60s.
I was about to say
it was early. Their rivalry has been going on since 1897. So again, another long one. C.J. Stroud, 2022, cost them the game. That was a highlight. That game was going back and forth for a while, and then Michigan went on and just had some big plays. They had 69, 75, 85-yard plays, and then Michigan won the Big Ten title. It's usually between those two when it comes to the Big Ten title every year. It's a battle. Again, you have a lot of NFL talent on those teams typically, especially Ohio State. So high expectations. When teams are both 11-0 or 12-10-1, they're ranked number 2 and 3 within the. You're fighting to win to nowadays making the college football playoffs. Now, with them expanding to the 12, these two teams I expect to be in it pretty much every year. There's no reason they won't be. But it's just a good Big Ten rivalry. I don't follow Big Ten football as much. Big 12 guy, out of state. But, I always enjoy watching their games.
Oh, yeah. They're good.
Yeah.
Two good teams. A lot of good NFL players come out of them. I know that.
You get Michigan. I think Michigan stadiums hold 100,000 people. That's a lot of people.
That is.
That's loud, crazy college football environment. Someday I need to go to a game. I'm not even a fan. I just need to go to a Michigan game.
I bet it'd be crazy.
Yeah, the stadium just has to be. I don't even know. I don't know how that stadium is not broken.
I kind of dig Michigan's uniforms too.
Well, and they're the first team to get in college football to get the Jordan. Jordan route. I like them. I do.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Good. Yeah.
Even though John Harbaugh, he's cheating. But,
Oh jeez.
Oh jeez. My next one. It's not a team. It's players. Brady Manning.
Oh yes.
Our childhood, right there. There was a long time where if it wasn't Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, it'd be a Manning.
Manning.
A Manning.
Yeah. I think it's Tom Brady versus
Manning.
Yeah. Yeah. But
one Manning fared better than the other.
Yeah.
Tom Brady Really, honestly, regular season, Tom Brady destroyed Peyton Manning. Postseason, Manning was 3-2.
That's really weird to think about because everybody said Peyton
Wasn't good in the
wasn't
playoffs.
good. Well, wasn't in the playoffs and was a regular season quarterback. But then Tom during the regular season kicks his ass. But Brady, out of the 5 times they played against each other, Peyton's able to, technically come out ahead. Did it result in all the Super Bowls? No, but
A lot of great games came from that.
well, this rivalry is a good one because Peyton Manning, the face of the NFL,
Golden Boy versus a sixth-round pick with the chip on his shoulder. Yeah,
Peyton Manning again. They for so long, he's the GOAT. Like they were trying to push him into the GOAT status, even though you had Steve Young over here with 4 Super Bowl wins. Peyton was the guy that he's going to break all the records. No one's ever going to come close. And then here comes Tom Brady. So, yeah, AFC.
Yeah, that's true because Joe Montana was, kind of an outcast a little bit too. And then you got Peyton Manning, who literally is an NFL golden boy. He's literally what Patty Mahomes is right now.
Yeah.
Only Patty Mahomes is better. But
oh, yes.
Already, I mean, he has 2 Super Bowls and probably will break all statistics and everything.
That was more than just a normal rivalry. That was a rivalry created because of NFL.
Oh yeah, must watch football is what that was for a long, long time. Colts were always the best in their division. The Patriots just dominated under Brady, and I mean, I'm talking about 2 players that I put in my top 5 all time.
Well, did you have it like when he became a Bronco too at all?
No, it's not broken down from his Bronco years.
Because I wonder what it would be like. Because clearly it wasn't the same Manning after his Bronco years, but I wonder.
His Bronco years, he had a better team around him too than the Colts. True. He had a good offense, but for some reason they could never give him a good defense. And really, honestly, the only good coach he had was Tony Dungy.
Yeah,
so.
And then then the Colts defense gets pretty better after he leaves. Kind of like the Colts offensive line with Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
Manning and Brady definitely is like, I think, as of right now, I mean, the only thing we could really compare it to would be like Joe Burrow, Patty Mahomes.
Yeah.
AFC West, or AFC teams, not West teams. Just AFC teams. Joe Burrow's beaten Mahomes
3 times.
3 times.
3-1, I think, is what it is.
Which, of course, that one's like the most important one to get to the Super Bowl. But
go ahead.
I think that's going to be the next Brady Mahomes.
Yeah.
In terms of like clearly, let's leave out the GOAT status and stuff like that. But we're going to watch that for a very long time.
Oh yeah, Joe Burrow has changed that Bengals team. You talk about 3 years ago, looking at that Bengals team, you have Andy Dalton leaving it. You're like,
old ass AJ Green,
old AJ Green. Like it was not a team that you really ever respected. I mean, you did have a lot of good players come on there, and you had Chad Ochocinco and all that, but they were never respected. Like right now, the Bengals are a force to be like. If the Bengals win the Super Bowl next year, would you? And no. Joe Burrow was the MVP. Would you blink an eye? I wouldn't.
I have Joe Burrow being my MVP for the regular season, actually. We'll discuss that in a later podcast. But,
nice. Yeah. I wouldn't disagree with that. I could see
that. My next rivalry is arguably has the greatest college football play ever, is the Alabama-Auburn. SEC, Iron Bowl. It's been played since 1893. There's such weird stuff with this rivalry. It took a pause back in like 1907, 1908 over a dispute of like $30 or something like that. So back in the day, there was a thing where like you got hotel accommodations for like food and everything like that when you make a deal, and it's like $2 a player. Well, then like Alabama was trying to get $3.50 per player. Auburn wanted like $3. So there's this huge dispute over like $37 total that ended up resulting in the game to not be played because they couldn't agree on the hotel.
You said, what year was this?
Like 1908.
Dude, $37 prior, like what, $200 now?
Yeah.
Like that?
So the hotel allowance started it to they stopped playing it for a while, and then Alabama state legislators got involved a little bit and were like, if you're not doing allegedly, there's they threatened Alabama that they would take away public funding to the university if they didn't start playing the game again. So that just goes to show like how much Alabama loves football for one.
Yeah.
And two, Alabama got scared a little bit and was like, all right, listen here. We need the public funding. We need the public funding. So they started back up because of that. People say it didn't happen, but I like that way. I like that version a lot more. And then some of the biggest games in there, I guess for some reason I didn't get who leads it. I don't know why I didn't do that. But Cam Newton, 24-point comeback in 2010. That dude with Auburn, think about it, this guy was benched behind Tim Tebow, couldn't get the starting position over him, and then took Auburn with like no other NFL players on that roster.
Oh yeah.
And then plays Bama. You're down 24 points at halftime, and you come back and win it 28-27. That's fucking crazy. That's
some Tebow stuff, dude.
And then you got the good old kick six. 2013, tied 28-28, 1 second left, kick like a 57-yard field goal when what was his name? Chris Davis.
Did he even make it to the NFL?
I don't think so.
I remember that, dude. Like that's like the biggest moment in high school.
And I remember when he got back in the end zone, because this, like, prior to this, you typically weren't throwing people in the back of the end zone a whole lot to take field goal kicks and return them.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't really done.
Devin Hester type stuff.
Yeah. Yep. And I remember when he lined back up there, I was like, this is kind of funny. Like, what are you doing? Like, even if he misses it, you're not going to take it or anything. Misses the field goal, takes it 9 yards back.
99 yards?
Well, 9 yards in the end zone back.
Yeah.
For a touchdown. 1 second left on the clock. That's just rivalry plays right there. Like, that shit just defines rivalries. Oh my goodness, that's still talked about today. It's like it's like that helmet catch, It's like one of those things that is always gonna live
in football history.
Football history, and of course, it came from a part of one of the greatest football rivalries. It wasn't like a game between like Ohio and Mississippi State where nobody gives a shit about it.
And Auburn really isn't that big. Like, they're big, but they're not like.
Well, they haven't. The other one too is, over the last couple of years, Auburn's football has dropped off heavily. Alabama stayed at the top like they do, so the rivalry kind of doesn't
matter as much.
Yeah, it's like Florida and Florida State. Like, both teams kind of dropped off. The rivalry isn't as big as they used to be. At least out-of-state people. Clearly, interstate people are going to value rivalries better than others, but yeah, definitely. Auburn and Bama, good rivalry to watch every year.
My next one, I got a lot of Steelers on here. I'm sorry, but
Steelers out here just rivals with everybody, huh?
They do. Steelers Raiders.
What era is that? 70s?
70s, 80s. Yeah. Believe it or not, the Raiders have dominated the Steelers.
Really?
Really interesting too, because we think of recency bias. We think about the Raiders not being that good.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Raiders are 14-11 against the Steelers. In the playoffs, they're 3-3. So it's dead even.
Bad as a dominant is. I was expecting a way worse number, like 15-6.
No, but I think of the Steelers. Like, the Steelers are probably, besides the Patriots, they're the best franchise in NFL.
Yeah,
like,
I even think the 70s they had that stellar defense the whole decade.
Oh yeah, in the 80s they had Franco Harris, Terry Bradshaw.
And the fact that the Raiders haven't beat. I mean, the Raiders did have the greatest coach of all time, John Madden. I'd say, but
is he though? Is he though? Bill Belichick. I mean, people.
Bill Belichick is just a system, all right. He needed Brady. You listen.
So no, he there's just a lot of good players, a lot of Hall of Famers in here. I mean, David Casper, Mel Blount, Howie Long, Fred Biletnikoff, Joe Green, Terry Bradshaw, Franco Harris. Old school football, teams that hated each other. Actually, the Immaculate Reception, I believe, was against the Raiders, where the Steelers, where Terry Bradshaw threw the pass, it got deflected off the defender and caught by Franco Harris for a touchdown.
Yep.
Which I guess they try to say was illegal during the time because if it bounced off a defender, offensive player couldn't catch it. But still, I don't know, some stupid rule, but
they're just trying to pull the tuck rule.
Yeah, the tuck rule bullshit. But I don't know, pretty cool rivalry back in the day. Now it doesn't really mean anything as much as it did. But
no, that's a solid 10 to 15 year rivalry.
Oh yeah.
So,
I mean, a lot of Super Bowls won by these teams too.
Yeah, we weren't alive then, so
no, we weren't.
Can't really speak much on it.
Got to watch a lot of football lives. Got to watch a lot of top 10s.
Got to talk to your parents and grandparents about how was that environment. Like when we're gonna be telling our kids and grandkids, back in my day, we watched Tim Tebow just dominate the NCAA.
Maybe we'll have to ask Mark about it. He's probably alive then.
Well, he's a Raiders fan too.
Yeah, he's a big Raiders fan.
My daddy's a Raiders fan. I don't know. I'm surprised I'm not a Raiders fan. He did not force that shit on me at all. So I'm glad. Thank you very much, Father, for not doing that. Yeah, for how big of a Raiders fan he is, I'm surprised that was not forced. So, of course, you got to do the interstate rivalry. The Cyhawk, Iowa State.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just football. It's every fucking sport that we play against. Everybody takes... But, of course, football is going to be the biggest one between the two. That started back in 1894. Iowa State beat Iowa. And at the time, Iowa State wasn't even Iowa State. It was like Iowa... I don't remember. It wasn't even called Iowa State yet. But they won the first one. This rivalry has not been much of a rivalry.
I'm sure Iowa has.
Iowa holds the lead at 48-22. Yeah. Quoting Joel Embiid when asked about the Celtics rivalry with the 76ers, it isn't a rivalry. They always kick our ass.
That's what he said.
It's not a rivalry. I don't know our record against them, but it's pretty bad. They always kick our ass. So,
I'm a State fan, but man, this as much as in-state rivalries are going to be treated differently from the in-state natives compared to outside people.
It's a big deal around here.
Yeah, oh yeah, dude, tailgating. People got their your friendships are not friendships that week. That whole week is not a friend. You're not a friend leading up to the game. I mean, I almost have to say a whole 2 weeks because after the game, it's just a huge thing. Iowa State over the last couple of years has definitely had the better roster. Can't fucking pull it out of their ass for some reason. Don't understand that. Iowa's had a very good defense too, which you had Brock Purdy led team, and then you've had Breece Hall, David Montgomery. Those are some Al Lazard,
NFL starting quarterback Brock Purdy,
and then Iowa's had over the last couple of years. I mean, you have T.J. Hawkinson, George Kittle.
Just got another guy drafted, tight end university, offensive line
university. The defensive end went to the Lions too.
Oh, what the hell was his name?
Van Ness.
Yeah. Something Van Ness.
Yeah. So he
was a higher pick too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was before Jack Campbell.
He was first round?
Yeah, they were both first round picks.
Him and
Jack Campbell.
No, they weren't both.
The tight end. Yeah, they were. It was 15.
No, they had 2 first round picks that they took. They took Jahmyr Gibbs and then the other.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
You're
Whatever.
high.
No, but then they have Tristan Wirfs. They produce tight ends and linemen.
Oh yeah,
so
a lot of good ones too.
And then Iowa State has just been mediocre for the last, most of this. You had Seneca Wallace, and after that it was nobody's. I had a signed poster from 2003, and I look at that roster, and I'm like, this dude is like Perry's school district now because it was Miss Grease's son. He played for Iowa State.
Oh,
The elementary teacher.
what is his name? Kane Seeley.
No, Mrs. No,
Mrs.
that's
Grease.
Miss Seeley.
Oh, okay.
Mrs. Grease, the other Perry.
Oh, I don't know who he was.
You don't. It was a girl.
Oh,
Miss Grease,
no, I don't know.
her son.
No, I remember Miss Grease.
Casey Baldwin. That's what was his name.
Casey Baldwin.
Back in 2003, yeah, he played for Iowa State. He was a wide receiver, and now he's like like Perry's school board or something like that. Like,
Really?
but
Miss Grease is a good woman.
You look at that roster, and you're like, there is nobody on this team.
Yeah.
Just, like
Seneca used to play like Des Moines League flag football, and he was really good, I guess.
Hey, now he's got the wing stops, bro.
Yeah, dude, he's living it. Seneca's a fun guy to watch too.
But the Cyhawk, it's just unless you're an Iowa native, it doesn't hit the same. You gotta once you move to Iowa, you gotta like build that passion for it. So it's always fun. The tailgates, the shit talking between the teams. Again, as much as a fucking beatdown it is typically every year, it's always fun. 2011, they had triple OT. Like,
yeah, I remember that.
That was the first time that it had ever gone into overtime.
I remember my grandma calling me about that game. She's like, I was watching the Iowa State game. It's the best game. My grandma doesn't watch that.
Yeah, dude. It's always one of those rivalries that even when you're not, like, if you move away from Iowa, you're still going to pay attention to.
Well, especially to us, too. We don't have a pro team.
Mm-hmm.
So that is, like, college football is a big deal to Iowa.
Yeah. So
nationally, probably not as big of a deal, but to us, it's a big deal.
Yeah. So we'll always have that. Iowa State will eventually, maybe do better. We'll see how this season goes. Iowa State will kind of both have, like, mediocre teams, I guess, this year. So we'll see what that mediocrity turns into.
My last one. You're going to love this. Giants-Eagles.
Hell yeah.
The
kid giving Eli the double birds. Oh, yeah.
To me, I feel like the Giants-Eagles, I'm going to say I think it's the best rivalry in NFL football. I really do.
My unbiased opinion, I'll agree.
I mean, think about everything that's happened, though. You have the last minute punt return by Deshaun Jackson for the win, and then he goes and I can just picture him trailing right in front of the end zone and then going and then diving back. And
that whole comeback just was rent free in my head.
Oh yeah,
just Michael Vick putting on a fucking stellar performance to come back, and then 6 seconds left, you decided to punt to Deshaun Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Miracle in the Meadowland, where they won with, I think his name's John Rayon, who strip sacked them, and then I believe the Eagles won. They strip sacked the Giants guy, and then they won. It was like 90s, 80s, 70s football.
Yeah.
Michael Strahan, think about all the good players like Mike Vick, like
Donovan McNabb, T.O.
Yeah.
You get 2 times a year that game.
Eli Manning.
Out of interdivision.
Plexico Burris.
For a couple of years, yeah.
He was good. What's his fucking name? Tiki Barber. Tiki Barber's.
Yeah, I love Tiki. Love my good old Tiki and Rondé Barber.
But there's so many good moments in the NFL. And 2 franchises that, the Eagles did finally win their Super Bowl in 2007.
Well, and then you also had, like, the coaches. Andy Reid, at the time. And then...
Is Andy Reid top 5 to you?
Oh, yeah.
You think so?
That dude is a brilliant mind.
Mm-hmm.
Just...
Stupidest thing the Eagles ever did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Stupidest.
Oh, let's go get Chip Kelly, guys. Chip Kelly to the moon. Oh, knees.
Chip Kelly. Let's make DeMarco Murray. Chip Kelly's like, who was good in college? Let's take
Chip
everyone.
Kelly's like, let's go do the... Dude, I remember that we were doing, like... It'd be like 22 seconds into the fucking play clock and we're snapping the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, stupid.
I'm pretty sure somebody paid Chip Kelly to just come in and completely destroy the Eagles
Dude,
team.
that team though was really fun to play with on Madden because it's like playing NCAA basically. Like there's a bunch of weird stuff that they did, but like in the NFL it didn't translate at all.
Yeah, now that rivalry is just the Eagles going to continue to kick the Giants' ass. As long as they have Daniel Jones at quarterback, I ain't worried.
Speaking of the Eagles, I heard Jason Kelsey saying a joke about Doug Peterson.
Oh yeah, it was it a fullback that said it?
Yeah, something like about I can't remember, like people doing the Guinness Book of World Records. Yeah.
It's like we looked up what was the smallest penis or whatever, and it was like
yeah. Someone's like I can do this, and he's like, oh, I got my letter back. I won the Guinness Book of World Records. Another guy was like, oh, I could do this, and it was like, oh, I got it back, and the guy's like, I have the smallest penis in the world, and the guy's like, oh, who the hell is Doug Peterson?
Yeah. Dude, I love that. I love Jason Kelsey. They just
He's funny.
They just released a video of today, I guess, is two little girls after practices. He lays down and takes a football and just like, he's tired from practice and all that. He'll just take the football and just fucking throw it, just whatever. And his daughters go and chase after the ball and bring it back. I love the guy.
I forget that he played for Andy Reid.
It's so weird to think about, like, you think Andy Reid, like, as an Eagles fan, like, how long ago it's been?
It's been a long
since
time.
Andy Reid has been there.
He's been doing it for a lot of years. I mean, I wonder how long he's been a coach, because you can think of Andy Reid and then you think of like young Andy Reid, like he was with the Packers. He was Brett Favre's quarterback coach.
My favorite video of Andy Reid is when he does like the punt, pass. What is it? The punt, pass, and whatever. Like what you do in like school. You're like how far you can punt the ball, how far you can pass the ball, and there's something else. And there's a video of him. He's like 13 years old or some shit, or maybe younger, and he's like 4 times the size of all these other kids. It's so funny. He's got the jersey on, like all the kids do. And
once they gave him the cheeseburger after the game.
Yeah, I strive to be him in terms of coaching, because like
he's a good coach.
He's 65.
Yeah, he's been there for a long time. You think he's going to retire anytime soon?
No. Until Patty Mahomes is not a quarterback in the league, why would I leave? I'm almost guaranteed a fucking.
I'm glad that he got that, because the Chiefs might be the Patriots if he keeps playing.
Yeah, so let's see.
They got to win a lot of Super Bowls, though.
He was a head coach for Philly from 1999 to 2002.
To 2000, he was longer than
2012. Sorry.
Yeah, I was about to say. 1999 to 2012.
So BYU, he was a grad assistant in 1982. So so I guess you don't want to count that. He was still going to school. His first official job was with San Francisco State as the offensive line coach in 1983. So he's been coaching for 40 years.
Yeah. He's a damn good coach. I mean, honestly, he wins a couple more Super Bowls, you may
he
look at him.
He is literally the Peyton Manning of, like, intelligence. If you had to compare intelligence-wise, like, Peyton Manning is probably one of the most intelligent quarterbacks to ever play the game. Andy Reid is the most intelligent head coach to ever coach.
Bill Belichick's really smart.
Andy Reid
he's very, very smart.
Andy Reid, way smarter.
You think so? Oh, I would say offensive minded, yes. Defensive minded?
Yeah, but then you have like defensive but each coach
Bill Belichick is the smartest defensive.
But then you have like guys that felt like Andy Reid's an offensive guy. Bill Belichick's a defense guy. I would say Andy Reid is probably the most intelligent overall head coach.
He's one of them.
I would say he's overall.
We'll see.
Bill Belichick may have all those Super Bowls and all that, may look nicer, but Andy Reid does shit differently. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Recency bias. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes,
Well, this rate, who knows?
Yeah, Patty could be better than Brady. He really could.
He's on pace to be better.
Yeah,
and
he
just
is.
everything
He's won a
done.
lot.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But that's all we got for today.
Yep.
Stay tuned for next week.
Like and subscribe.